Hey everyone, reviewing stand-up. We're going to start with some of the overflow from Sunday's stream. We're starting with Carlos. Carlos had another clip that we couldn't get to, so I'm going to be starting, reviewing stand-up, starting with Carlos's clip that we could not get to from Sunday. If you guys want me to review your stand-up, just DM me a YouTube link or a Google Drive link. Happy to put you next. Starting with Carlos from Sunday's stream. I'm going to review this and see what is up. It looks like he's at the Dania Improv, which is in Miami. Let us see what happens. Here we go.
Make sure they know they got some support in the building, all right?
Okay, already this is a weird crowd moment. This is a long time. Like, whoever the host was talking too much, and the crowd is being left with an empty stage, at least for my money, for too long, which is going to make our entrance interesting. But that might not be his fault.
All that being said, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for your host tonight, Mr. Carlos.
Oh, they're starting the show. I see. So we're trying to be like, okay, here are probably announcements. Here's where the fire exit is. Blah 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 blah. And then now here is your host. Okay, great. I usually, if there's, look, it all depends. Roser, it depends on how many people are in the queue. I'll usually easily do 5 minutes of anyone's video, but if no one else pops into the queue, I'm happy to go as long as the video is. So yeah, Roser, feel free to shout out a clip, and after we're done with Carlos, happy to do as much of your clip as I can before we get to more people, or if there's a big line, I'll do 5 minutes and get to the rest of it at a future date. Okay, yay, Carlos, here we go. Okay. Okay, notice the audience. Oh my god, this is okay. You guys, if you've watched the stream before, you'll see me harp on this a million times. It's the easiest thing to fix, though. Look, he just got the only free applause that you get. Welcome to the stage. Your name. Yay! Yay! If you want to validate the audience, if you want to reward them for applauding, so that they know I should applaud more during this whole set, you only have this moment to do it. As soon as that first applause dies, you are done being able to train that. You can pimp them into another applause and then do it, but it's not as finesse. So watch, we walk on stage. Yay, we love you, we love you. Okay, I'm not doing anything with my arms. I'm going to the mic stand. He smiles, great. So we have some recognition of the audience, but he could have been, the whole time walking on stage, he could have been like, thank you, yes, ooh, give it to me. You love me, I love you. Yes, we're gonna have a great show. He could have been actively fueling that applause, actively training the audience to do more. It's not, his entrance isn't bad, but it's not optimal. There's like 3 points that we could have won already. Hey, Carlos. Right? And in that half second when we looked at the mic, you can feel the audience settle down. We could have been riling them up with momentum into whatever the first thing we're going to say is.
I know what y'all thinking.
Okay, and we start with, I know what you're thinking. So instead of saying like, hey, I'm your host tonight, we're going to have a great show, thank you for being here. It's like imagine if you met someone at a party and this is how they walked in. Hey, this is my friend Carlos. I know what you're thinking. Like, in some ways, there are benefits and the audience is like, ooh, intriguing. But in some ways, the audience is like, oh, no thank you, no pleasantries, no hello, nice to meet you. Ugh. So look, there are ways we can use the other thing, but for the most part, I'd rather us have our opening moment. Also, anytime a comic goes, I know what you're thinking, you better, if we can call it, great, it'll be amazing. But if you're like, I know what you're thinking, elephants are beautiful, right? And the audience is like, well, I don't know. If you don't call it right, the audience can fight you on it. So I know what you're thinking, we better hit it correctly, let's see.
Pepto Bismol never look better.
Okay, look. Honestly, great joke, especially considering our outfit. And I love jokes like that like, yeah, maybe the audience is like, oh, what an interesting suit. So I love that our first joke is to resolve that, but it is a little bit like, this set's about me. The first thing I'm gonna say is a joke instead of like, hey, welcome. This is about y'all. This is about us. So once again, I like that first joke. I just wish that we had an opening moment beforehand, because you feel listen how riled up the audience is for your entrance, and then listen how comparatively like timid they are for that first joke. And it's because we sort of trained them to be like, I'm not rewarding your applause, and here's a thing. And it's like, oh, okay. Watch. Listen to how loud the applause is for you to get on stage. Okay. Yeah! Yes, Carlos, we love you. We love love you. Okay, he's not giving us anything. Maybe we shut the fuck up.
I
Okay.
know what y'all thinking. Pepto-Bismol never look better.
Ha 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 ha. Right? Our opening applause was here, and their first laugh was like here, right? Versus we could have been fueling opening applause, intro moment, say first joke, and the whole crest would have been bigger, at least for my.
Daniel Beach!
Okay, so we have to pimp them back into high energy. We could have already, once again, I hate harping on it, but it's the easiest thing to fix, intro moments, and it's 95% of people get it wrong.
Yeah!
Wait, I like that.
Daniel Beach improv, man, hell, we...
One second.
Daniel Beach! Yeah! Welcome to the Daniel...
Yeah, you kind of talk over their applause. You're like, welcome, celebrate. They're like, yes, we're happy to be here. And you're like, now let me tell you something else. It's like, oh, and I need to shut the fuck up? I'm not allowed to sell. If you ask the audience a thing about like, how do we feel about cars? Let them finish their emoting. Otherwise, you're stifling them. You're subconsciously saying, I don't really give a fuck how you feel about cars. I just want to do my piece about cars. You're like, Daniel Beach, how you doing? Yay! You beat the full crest of that laugh, but that applause just starts to come down, and we cut in. So we're training them. I don't want that extra noise of you, which it's fine. It's not terrible, but right up top, you're either training the audience to do better for you, or you're training them that this is about you talking. And that move of cutting in the middle of their emotion is training them like, no. I only want you to talk when I allow you to talk. Otherwise, shut up. It's subconsciously saying that. Roser, okay, Roser. Yeah, no worries, Roser. Okay.
Daniel Beach improv, man, hell, we got a heck of a show for you guys. But first, guys, we appreciate you guys. Give yourselves a hand for being here.
We do a double pimp. Okay. So intrinsically, when not you're the host, but whenever it's the God mic says, "Welcome to the stage, you," the audience goes, "Woo!" This woo, that's implicitly how the audience is doing. That's their emotion. So if we walk on stage and we go like, I know it's not exactly the same, but there's another thing that I harp on because I hate it. So they go, woo, and a lot of comedians go, how are we doing? And it's basically like the audience was like, we love you, we love you, we love you. Do you love me? Yeah, we love you, we love you. No, but how are you doing? Do you still love me? Like, fucking yeah, are you not listening to us? That's sort of the effect we're doing as we're like forcing these pimp responses from the audience, especially because we're cutting through a lot of them. So I don't like the double pimp out of the crowd's energy, unless we make a game of it. If we make a game of it, then it's evolving. Then it's like, can we get an applause from over here? Yeah. This side's turn. Yeah. The back. Then it's a game, and you can do more with it. But if it's just like, hey, we're gonna have a good time? You guys having fun? One more round of applause. I don't know. Once again, just watch out.
Yeah. It would not be a show with...
Even that, right? We that's another applause that we're not letting. Well, okay, to be fair to Carlos, this audio device has a recording, and it's probably in the back of the audience, and he is in the front of the audience. So the audio experience from the recording versus what he felt on stage could be different. So I do want to call that out. However, right now, this is the second time we've cut into the audience emoting before, at least in my opinion, we should have. It could be because on stage it felt differently, but given what we have as data points, I would say we're cutting in too soon. And especially up top, once again, it's training the audience that I don't really care about what you're saying. I'm just sort of using you.
Without you guys, so thank you for coming.
Wait,
Not be a show without you guys.
You're literally saying, this can't be a show without you guys, but also shut the fuck up of your thing that you're saying, right? You're literally saying, shush. This is about you. It's like, no, it's not. You just shushed me.
So thank you for coming.
You notice how suddenly quiet they all are?
We had it. Make some noise for the staff. They're here to make this and then the people.
Okay. Yeah. Once again, I don't mind us as hosts introducing the audience to like that. Hey, that's the staff. This is the venue. Give it up to your bartender. Give it up to your comedian. I don't mind introducing the pieces, but if we're gonna do this many pouts of the crowd multiple times in a row, make a.
You're unbelievable.
Applebee's must.
Get a game out of it, and then you can get away with it a lot more. And otherwise, it's just the same thing laterally, and you're asking me to give you energy multiple times. without sort of like giving me a button to press. So I'm gonna get fatigued if we do it for too long.
Hydrated and not hungry.
Once again, you get that applause. Once again, third applause in a row that the audience is saying, oh, okay, we're being good boys and girls, and we're emoting for you, and you're like, I don't really care. This is still about me talking. Like, watch it.
These are comedy.
Oh, and then you notice how I can you notice how I can see you code switch? I can see you like, okay, I'm in host mode. Welcome. Let me get into material. Once again, we're all human on stage, and I understand we probably are code switching on stage. So much pressure on being the host. Most polished. Look. Yeah. Hosting is sort of its own thing because as a stand-up, you know, as like a non-host stand-up, you can hit the ground running and talk about what you want to talk about. But a host job is like, you do need to be a friend with the audience. You have to open up the crowd from nothing. You don't know what kind of landmines you're stepping on. And if any of the comedians do something weird, it's going to be your job to smooth it over. So if anything, you need peace with the audience versus the comedians can take some hard stances, can maybe take some more character piece with their set. So yeah, it is definitely different skills to be a host.
The new faces open. These are comedy. The new faces open mic are awesome. They're a blast because you never know what you're gonna get. Okay, you got some seasoned comedians and you got some first timers coming up. So never know what you're gonna get.
Oh, I mean, even that could be a joke. You got some seasoned comedians, you got some first timers. You're coming up later, sir. You, ma'am, you got a joke for me? Like, we could have made that. I understand we're like introducing the idea of the show, which is good. I like that. We're getting the audience prepared about saying like, hey, this is the night. I'm gonna ease over any anxiety you might have about what's gonna happen. Great, classic coach stuff. But we could have easily made a game out of that. Is a sprinkle of crowd work a useful way to switch gears into material? Look, Tyler, ideally, we start every bit with a little bit of crowd work, and then we use it to bleed into material. And then the trick is making sure the audience doesn't know when we stopped, just like riffing with them and starting material. All stand-ups should feel like this. Hey, I was like, so I recently bought a car. Oh, you like cars. Oh, big Toyota fan over here. Blah, blah, blah. My car is a truck. Oh, so it's like I drop some piece of information. I play with the audience a little, and then I say what I want to say, but I make it feel like I'm just continuing to riff off that initial thing. So usually a little bit of crowd work or using the crowd, something up top of a bit, is the perfect way to make it feel more conversational and trick them.
It's gonna be hilarious. It's all here for your entertainment. Can't wait to see it. Huh? You guys ready for this?
Great. Once again, all that's being said, once again, we pimped out another applause. Look, you're very personable. You're relaxing the audience as far as what to expect in the show. So you're getting all like the host duties done. But we could have also had a little bit of comedy at this point as well. Okay. For those who are in Twitch chat or YouTube chat, Carlos is like, okay, he's about to do some crowd work and fail, so I can't wait. Thanks for the foreshadowing. Here we go.
Before we start real quick, I want to tell you guys, this is very important. Can you guys do me a favor now? This is so important.
You asked, like, can you do me a favor? And then you're just sort of like continuing, as I said, like, okay, this is important. Can you guys do me a favor? I'm going to ask you anyways. Like, we could be using them instead. We're sort of like talking at them a little bit.
So important.
Okay, great.
It's so
Wait, what?
So important. So important.
Yeah, as an audience member, I didn't. If you were doing that to me in the audience, I don't know whether you were asking me to go, how important is it, or so important. The audience got it, but it took them a second because I don't know. Unless that's a Miami-based thing where they know it, that they should be mimicking the comic. I just wasn't clear in the game. Luckily, the audience got it, or at least some people took a stab, and the rest of the sheep followed. But I was a little unclear what this game was.
It's so important that my job depends on it, okay? So I need you guys to please fill out these cards right here. They're right.
That's all we do? That's all we do with the so important. So important. That's right. It's so important. Just you, sir. So important. It's so important. Anyone who's going to have sex tonight, so important. We could have done so much more with that so important game. Like, if we're going to do it, that game you just started as far as like teaching the audience, and so they didn't have time to pay it off. They just had like, it was just like an onboarding session, and you're like, okay, abandon that now. I got to do these cards. So you see how we could have done more with that. So important. It's so, or even a different game instead of heightening so important. Because it's so important, so important. We're gonna be millionaires later. I'm gonna follow Carlos on social media. Right? We could have played more with just like getting the audience to say what we said after. We're all gonna buy 18 drinks tonight. Gonna buy 18. That's a promise. Bartenders, give them all 18 drinks. So there's so many different ways we could have heightened that game of getting the audience to repeat us. Instead, we did nothing with it. Okay, so once again, we're going back to host duties. If I have these cards, I need you to fill out these cards. I'm introducing you to what your homework for the night is.
Right in front of you, fill them out. They're easy to do for you, and it's like a $5 tip for me. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you guys so much. Yes.
Yeah, once again, we're still kind of, other than the so important, we're just kind of using the audience and talking over them. And we're like, okay, do these things. I need you to do these things. I'm assuming you're going to do these things. Thank you for doing these things. And once again, even handing out the cards, we could have been like, flick, there's one for you in the back. Even though it's kind of dangerous. Or like, oh, make a paper airplane. Woo, there's your card. Whoa. All of these things could be games. All of these things that we have to do anyways, we could make games out of. Instead, we're sort of like, here's your homework, here's your homework, here's your homework, here's your homework. They'll be fun later, but here's your homework. Look. Hosting, some of that is your job, is to get rid of the homework that the venue needs to get done. But we can still be having fun while we're doing it.
So here we are. We're about to put on a show for you guys. Do not worry about that. Sit
The show already started. You're putting on a show for us right now.
back, enjoy. But first, I'm going to tell you guys my actual government name. That's right. My name on stage.
Okay, oh yeah, so some of the people in the audience, you can hear them like wow. Like, we said like, yes, we could have directly responded to them a little bit more. I don't mind, I wouldn't have minded our subtle response if we had done more with the crowd beforehand, but because we haven't really connected with the crowd in a big way and we're 2 minutes in already, I would have rather us now, since we're sort of starting more of our material, to really dig into like at least gauging their response after we say these things. So like, I'm gonna give you my government name. Oh, so important. We could have even called that back. The little bit of games that we have taught the audience.
My name on paper is Carlos Moises Ocrela Morales Santana. Yes, I love. The third.
Great. I love this, that we drop this information and we're checking in with the audience. We're seeing how it's landed. Some of the other clips you said. I love this joke. I love that you're checking in with the audience, and then we wait for the perfect moment to say and then throw the third in there. Great. Love that joke. Love it.
Hey, my pronouns are sexy and puppy chulo. I'm not.
Okay, so the audience, someone in the audience literally gave like an ow, and we're subtly nodding our head, but now at this point it doesn't feel like we're actually responding. It feels like we're defaulting. Someone gave us like an ow, you can be like, there's another Papi Chulo in the house. Ow, back to you, brother. Right? And we could have made this an actual using the live audience instead of, and the live audience just happened to be there.
Not gay, but I'm having a hard time convincing my parents.
I like that, and I like that we use the audience, but then we sort of like lose our personability with it. We're human, so things are gonna happen. But all of a sudden we go the big like I'm not gay, but I'm having trouble convincing my parents. It's like, oh yeah, and then whatever.
I like my women like I like my Florida weather. Inconsistent and annoying. If she slashes.
Yeah. I as far as better than nothing, I like the head nod as far as checking in on the audience and just showing that like, hey, I'm with you here. But if we do it too much, if we use the same move too much, then it starts coming off as fake. And then the audience is like, oh, he's not really responding to us. That's just him defaulting, and it's more of a performance. So just like watch out if our go-to is always this for the audience to check in, you might have to vary it up a little bit, because especially if we do that for the whole 10 minutes, the audience is going to start to go like, oh, that head nod isn't really for us. That's just a thing that he does. Right now it's fine. There hasn't been enough time, but I'm just flagging it now.
Tires, I'm bringing flowers. If she slashes tires, I'm bringing flowers. If she cuts my brake, bringing the whole cake. And if she craps the bed, I'm ready to wed. And you know what?
So I guess my thing is like, one second. My thing, this is kind of like a rhyming. The original value, the original like thing of the premise is, I like.
I like my women like I like my Florida weather.
Okay, great. I like my women like Florida weather.
Inconsistent and annoying.
Inconsistent and annoying. So if anything, we're about to say inconsistent and annoying examples. If we're going to pay off that premise, as we have promised it should be inconsistent and annoying things. And the things we reference are more like dangerous and more like, they're not like annoying, they're like beyond annoying to the point of like actually illegal. Like the examples we give are.
If she slashes tires, I'm bringing flowers.
So like inconsistent and annoying, slashing tires, like that's more than annoying. In my audience mind, I'm like, that's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, does that fit? Is slashing tires annoying, inconsistent and annoying? Or is it just like actually violent? So like, by my mind, I'm like,
If she cuts my brake, I'm bringing the whole cake.
Same thing with cutting my brake. That's like literally dangerous and will murder people. It's fine, but we're sort of like, this joke is more relying on this like rhyming thing. And I don't think it holds for 3 examples.
And if she craps the bed, I'm ready to wed.
Also, craps the bed is something that is annoying and inconsistent and literally incontinent. But now my mind is like, well, how does crap the bed fit with the other 2? And like, do people actually crap in the bed? How common is that? Unless that's like a topical reference, like an Amber Heard joke. I don't know. But you see all these questions that are happening in my mind? These might be happening in the audience's mind. And if they have questions, they're not going to go, ha ha ha, I'm relieved. They're going to go, oh, these things that I'm wondering about. So I think that's why this joke... I like the premise of I like my women like Florida weather, inconsistent and annoying. But if the words we use are inconsistent and annoying, the examples have to be inconsistent and annoying. If we want to use slash tire and blah blah blah, I think that it's like Florida weather, something and dangerous, and then we can give more dangerous examples for the payoff, so that the premise follows its own logical thread instead of adjusting midway. If that makes sense, at least for my money. Look, if we leaned into the audience, we could probably get away with this as is. About like, if she slashes my tires, I'm bringing flowers. Like, yeah. I hope my car doesn't have all 4 when I get out of the show tonight. If she cuts my brake, I'm giving cake. There's nothing says I love you like the full body cast I'll have after I can't stop my car. Like, we could lean into the audience and make this work as is. But I think that's why the current iteration didn't. Yeah, exactly. Can't pick what she wants for dinner is more on the inconsistent and annoying side as examples, instead of like actually dangerous. Yeah, I agree with that.
And you know what? Latinos get a bad rep, okay? Because white girls be crazy too, okay? Listen,
Yeah. See, even our follow-up is more like crazy examples. So we're saying inconsistent and annoying, then it was more like crazy examples. And then the yes and we did for the next part of the bit is saying like, oh yeah, I was talking about women being crazy, but we weren't. But like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, if anything, then the weather has to be more like dangerous than crazy if this is the logical thread we're following.
I texted this girl, I said,
well, once again, even this, we're sort of talking at the audience. Like, white girls can be crazy too. Oh, I see you. I clock you. You were saying we could be using this audience more. Especially as a host, you really need to make a personal connection. If the host talks over the crowd and doesn't make that personal connection, it limits your ability to be their friend later if you have to resolve something. If another comedian says something weird and afterwards you have to resolve it in between sets or whatever. So you should, if anything... In calibration mode, you should be calibrating towards almost talking and playing with the audience too much rather than not enough. If anyone, the host should.
Good morning, mi reina. She calls me back. Who the hell is Reina? You talking to other girls? Now I got a flat tire and a broken window. I'm in love.
Oh, okay. I think once again, I don't think the audience is bored, but I do think they pulled back on us because we haven't activated them a lot. And then like, okay, this is one second.
Mi reina. She calls me back because white girls be crazy too, okay? Listen, I texted this girl. I said, good morning, mi reina. She calls me back. Who the hell is Reina? You talking to other girls? Now I got a flat tire and a broken window. I'm in love.
Okay, look, it logically follows with what we just did. I don't necessarily believe that you actually are dating a white girl and that this actually happened. So it's a little bit like, oh, he's just saying things to say things, which we can get away with, but we have to either lean into. Oh, this is like the note of the month. There are 3 ideological truths that we can rest on, and we need to be resting on one of them. Otherwise, we are bleeding out honesty dollars, and the audience will be like, "Oh, brother," because they won't feel like we have any skin in the game. There's the actual logical truth of our words, like saying something about the world at large, which we're sort of doing about like, oh, any type of woman can be a little annoying. But right now, our story is that like, oh, I'm texting this girl who slashed my tires and broke my window. I don't really believe that's true. So to purport that as true, it won't stand on its own 2 feet. The audience will be like, oh, brother, unless we have some like really clever truth of life that we stack on top of it. So we have to lean on one of the other 2 pillars of truth. You are real on stage, and the audience is real there. So it's either like, that's my favorite joke. I don't really have a girlfriend like that. Or I do, and there's 5 of them. Or 4 of them, and there's 1 for each tire. Ha, ha, ha. Then I'm leaning on me, the truth of me and my response to that joke. So the joke doesn't have to be true because my real emotions are sort of reacting to this fake scenario. Or you can be leaning into the actual audience, the truth of them there, and activating them and making a real moment about like, oh, this girl, blah, blah, blah. She's like, who's this other girl? You're slashing my tires in my window. You're dating her too, I see. Oh, yeah, I'm not the only one. Great. Are you going to text something else tomorrow morning? Oh, and then we're making a real moment with the audience, so it doesn't matter that what we're logically stating is false because we're just using it as an excuse to connect with the audience. You need one of those 3 pieces, otherwise the audience will be like, oh, okay, we're just making up words to say words just for comedy's sake, and they'll pull back on you a little bit. You'll be bleeding honesty dollars.
Love is expensive, though. That's why I buy pot.
Okay, I love this premise though. Love is expensive. Great premise. Love is expensive. Super simple, super relatable, and people are at a comedy show. If there's a drink minimum, they'll be like, yeah, I agree with you.
Love is expensive, though. That's why I buy pot instead. Any pot smokers in the house?
Okay. So I like the idea of like love is expensive, so I buy pot. I get what you're saying, but in my mind, this is what happens in my audience mind. I'm like, wait. Is pot an alternate for love? Like, does pot fill the hole that love would fill? And so it needs more. It needs more for that to land on its own. I think it's like in a court of law. You said the words. People don't need love; they just need pot. Some people who really like pot might be like, yeah, I agree. But other people are like, I need more evidence, mister, for it to land on its own. But I like that we pimp out the audience as an easy like, who likes pot?
Hey, I'm talking about real smoke.
But once again, we ask who likes pot, and then we talk over the response. You're like, hey, did you go to the store today? I went to the store today. It's like, oh, you didn't really care if I went or not? Listen.
I pot instead. Any pot smokers in the house?
I am a pot smoker.
Real smokers,
shut the fuck up
not
then.
those that dabble on the weekend. I'm talking about real smokers that scrape the bowl and get mood swings before payday,
Even this, I like this idea about like, once again, we just talked over the audience, so we're training them like, no, I don't want you to talk. This is about me talking, even though you directly asked them a question. Then we say another premise, which I like. I'm talking about real pot smokers, but we don't even let first rung land before we do like second. I'm talking about real pot smokers. That's big. That's a big information dump. Like, I'm talking about real pot smokers. Not the on weekend. No. Real pot smokers. Next example. Instead, we talk for so long, we're not checking in on the audience. We're not giving time for the audience to emote, for us to be affected by the audience emote in reaction to our information. So the audience is like, oh, we're not being used. This is a performance. He's talking at us. So it's going to cause, it's fine. Once again, I still think they are entertained, but it's causing them to be like, oh, since I'm not needed, I'll just sit back in my chair. Instead of being in it with you and laughing more and giving you more. You're subconsciously training them to give you less because you're not rewarding them for giving you anything.
Still claim is an addiction.
Just listen to how long
Hey, I'm talking about real smokers, not those that dabble on the weekend. I'm talking about real smokers that scrape the bowl.
Yeah, I'm talking about real smokers, not those that dabble on the weekend. I'm talking about real smokers, the thing that next example.
To get mood swings before payday,
even that joke is too long. I'm talking because it's already too long, and then on top of that, I'm talking about real smokers, the one who scrape the bottom of the bowl to change their mood on payday. We don't need the mood on payday. I'm talking about real smokers, the one who scrape the bottom of their bowl, let that land, and then do the second piece. Otherwise, the punchline is so long that the audience is like, oh, I get the idea of it. I want to emote. No, I have to wait for the end of it. Oh, ha ha ha, because there's too many words that we're shooting at them. Instead of, it's called a punchline because it needs to be a quick punch. Your punch is like, ugh. But I love the idea. I even love these payoffs. I just think we need more breaks in them.
Still claim it's an addiction. It's not an addiction. No, I can quit anytime. Listen, guys, because when you smoke like me, you spend half your life higher than Snoop Dogg on a private jet.
Okay, look, higher than Snoop Dogg on a private jet. I like the idea of like when you smoke like me, you smoke some analogy here, but like Snoop Dogg on a private jet, I'm like, oh brother, okay brother, like I've like heard that joke before, so it's sort of like a, it's kind of it's cutesy, and if the audience really liked us, we could get away with that joke, and that joke would be the audience would give it to us, but because we really haven't established that dynamic, it's not going to win them over. So I like the idea of I get higher than blank, but I think we just might need a more clever analogy. Something that's either like more functionally life true and relatable instead of like, oh, I've heard this joke before, or something that's more personally true, or something that uses the audience. That's why I think like...
Higher than Joe Biden trying to read a teleprompter.
Okay, we're making a game out of it, which will strengthen each individual higher than. Do we only do 2?
Are you single? Higher than this girl's expectations in men.
Oh, great, exactly. No. Oh, yes, Steph. I like that. No. Carlos. Cut that out. I think we could have better examples for the first 2. I think I like Steph's ad exactly, like higher than I was when I bought the suit, because that's using the pillar of truth that is you. And then I like this thing. Are you single? Higher than this woman's dating standards. And then we use the audience. Yeah. I think those 2 rungs would help this joke work really well. And then we might be able to have one that's sort of like more life true. But I love this premise. If we alt it a little bit. Yeah. Thank you, Steph. And I love that move that we did of using the audience and actually activating them.
The other half, I spent it looking for things that I already got in my hands, like my lighter, my wallet, my keys. The other day, guys.
That's it. Things I got in my hand. And then do we do a list? My wallet, my blank, my keys. I was expecting some sort of joke there about like my wallet, even if it's not like a classic 1 thing, 2 thing, weird thing, like things I got in my hand, my wallet, my phone, my keys, my money, my blank. Got really full hands, guys. My blank. Like there's lots of things we could do with that joke, but we made a list. We had a perfect opportunity for comedy, and we're just like, fuck that opportunity. I'm not gonna use it.
I spent half an hour using my flashlight app to find my phone. This is me. Oh man, I can't lose another phone. I can't.
Ooh, we could have done more with that. Once again, we're performing on stage, but that's a no. I like that joke if we use the audience. If you like, I use look. I don't really believe that you've used your flashlight app to find your phone. So as far as the truth of the situation, we have burned that pillar. But what's the note of the night? We have 2 other pillars, either making it personally true or playing with the audience. You can say this sort of like hacky, like, oh, I have to use my flashlight app to find my phone. Ooh, you can be walking through the audience, like, do you have my phone? Oh, that's my phone. Oh no, I don't have a pink case. But hey, nice choice, sir. Like you could be going into the audience with the flashlight joke, and then we could get more out of it. But if we're sort of purporting it as truth, then the audience is going to go, oh, brother, because they're not going to believe it is truth. We either have to make a connection with the audience with it, or be like, I love that joke, or like, you really don't believe me, but I got this phone last week, or leave more credence to that statement being true. Yeah, I like the flashlight joke as well, if we just pivot a little bit. Instead of making it performy on stage by ourselves, one-man showy, you're the host. Use the audience. 100%.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Someone in the audience even said, I like that. I think I just heard. And from the audio. I might be crazy. I might be projecting. What? No, Carlos, no. One of my biggest pet peeves in stand-up is whenever a comedian goes, or anyways is the worst. Don't ever use anyway. Once again, I've heard anyway said 8 million times, and it's only been used that I like it twice in all the stand-up clips I've ever seen. The energy level is up here, and anytime we go, anyways, or so, it's just reducing free energy from the room. It's just taking the energy up here, this momentum that we've built, and being like, okay, fuck that. If we just did a really big song and dance number where we like literally are like, we might need to calm the audience down. And that's like the only situation when I'd be like, okay, let's settle if we're doing like an hour-long set and we really need to adjust levels. But otherwise, anytime we go, and it's an unforced error. We're giving away free energy that we then have to build up. Like, well, it'd be like if I'm talking to you guys right now and I'm like, you're like, why did he need to calm himself? Is he okay with us? Are we okay with him? It just causes a tension out of nowhere about like, I thought we were friends, but he seems anxious in some way. Like, watch.
There's another phone, yeah, but
And look how long that pause was. It's so funny that you're like jumping on the audiences in the beginning of this. You can't even wait long enough to let the audience emote. And then here you're just like, okay, this is where you try to do the crowd work. Okay, I'm excited to talk about crowd work skills. So here we go.
I know some of y'all can tell by looking at me.
Great. I like this. I know some of y'all can tell by looking at me, and then we wait to check in. So that doesn't need to be clever. We don't need to be paying off because we're checking in on the audience, so this natural tension builds, and you're smiling, and it's like, what is he doing? And like, I'm doing something. This is how simple jokes need to be, right? This is how simple. And if we use the audience, they don't have to be as clever. So I'm just showing you when you actually make it a dialogue where it's about the audience just as much as you, everything becomes easier. Everything becomes easier.
What did you laugh about?
Right? All we're doing is recognizing the audience and commenting on something that happened.
I know some of y'all can tell by looking at me that I'm some Puerto Rican, right? Yeah. I say Puerto Rican because it's complicated, complicado. You see, my mother is a light-skinned Dominican woman like this. That's right. My father is a Haitian man. That's right. My mother loves the BBC.
Oh, great. One second. I like this joke, and we could have, with the audience is literally applauding BBC. There's something funny about, like, yeah, give it up for BBC. Give it up way big and long. Give it up for that BBC. Or calling out the audience like, whoa, okay, that's the first time y'all applaud tonight, and it was for BBC. I see y'all. Like, there's so much we could have done just with the idea of the audience applauding for BBC. Oh, man, I don't need my phone flashlight to find that. You know?
39 years ago, this guy could have been my dad.
Great implicating. We're talking about things anyway, but 39 years ago, this guy could have been my dad. Great use of the audience. I love moves like that. Audience loved it too. Great. You're making them the star of the show. If we say something funny, the audience will be like, oh, remember that funny comedian? But hey, remember that comedian said I could be his dad? That's a story they take home with them. That's a personal connection. And those moments will make them more of your friend, which is what we need to do while we're hosting. So love that move.
But because my grandfather's Puerto Rican.
Oh, we could have, once again, we said this guy could have been my dad. Dad, you're back from getting milk or whatever. We've dubbed him as our dad. That's such a fun game. Play with it. Play in a moment with this thing about this guy is, exactly. Like Bryce, any BBCs in here? My mom would love you or whatever. Yeah, exactly. But we've dubbed this guy as our dad. Play with that as for a second, you know, like, Daddy, so my check is on you tonight. Yeah, thanks, Dad. See you at Christmas. Mwah. We could have done a little bit more with that idea once we've established audience member as dad. We just did like level 1 and then dropped it, which I still love and the audience loved. We could have dug in more if you wanted to.
Y'all know what that makes me? Anybody?
William, okay, here we go.
But because my grandfather's Puerto Rican, y'all know what that makes me? Anybody? Come on.
It's a tough question to, okay, so this is a hard question for the audience to answer. Like, does anyone want to guess? Because we already said you're like some sort of Rican, and so the audience is expecting some sort of like well-defined answer, some sort of more nebulous answer. And so, like, does anyone want to say what that makes me? As an audience member, like, oh, I don't know. It's something interesting.
But because my grandfather's Puerto Rican, y'all know what that makes me? Anybody?
I don't quite know. So instead of saying, do you know what that makes me? Anybody, which is feeling more tension, which I don't hate, but is
Anybody? Come on.
Well, because, yeah, this is awkward. They're like, anybody? The audience is like, no, there isn't anyone. Can you please resolve this tension? You're like, come on, you fucks. Anyone? Do my comedy for me. Like, we have to watch out. If the audience is, it's like, hey, do you want a hug? The audience is like, I don't really want a hug. You're like, come on, give me the hug. Like, okay. Like, watch out if the audience doesn't answer. It's up to you to resolve this tension that you freely put into the air. And I don't hate that we asked this question, but the audience isn't biting. Resolve it. Don't dig further, because then you look desperate, and then B, the audience is like, oh God, he's demanding things of us that we can't provide. Also, we are 5 minutes into this clip. Hey, anyone, if you want me to review your stand-up set, DM me a YouTube link or a Google Drive link or something, and I can throw you after Carlos. Happy to. Here we go though.
Y'all know what that makes me? Anybody?
Anybody?
Come on, somebody say something.
Come on, say something, you fucks. Come on. It's not okay for you to be quiet, right? As a host, you're supposed to accept us for who we are. And now you're making me nervous. And now I'm like, oh God, something's gonna be implicated. Just watch out. Just watch out for moves like that.
Racist, so I can have it on YouTube.
I don't hate that. That's a resolving line. So I like that. It's like, okay, you guys are nervous. Like, it's not racist. It's fine. So we are dealing with what might be the reticence. I like that move. I like that move a lot. We could have done it without the come on, you fucks. But I like that move.
Come on, somebody say something racist so I can have it on YouTube.
Okay. I see. You're opinion. Come on, someone say something racist so I can have it on YouTube. I like that joke, but now I'm even less likely to. Do you ever do this live if reviewing famous? So I like this joke of say something racist so I can put it on YouTube. But as an audience member, I'm even less likely to actually answer your question now. If what you're about to do requires an input from an audience member, or if I'm a nefarious person in the audience, it might have emboldened. We'll see. I could go either way, but only the worst kind of people will want to respond now.
That makes me a U.S. citizen. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. I like that payoff. Yeah. I like that, and I like how we had this awkward moment with the crowd, but our energy for U.S. citizen, you're kind of showing everything's okay and we're excited, so the audience matches your energy because the stand-up is the emotional avatar of the room, so usually the audience will match you. You should try to get as high energy as you can get away with because the audience will match you. Now that being said, if you're high energy and the audience isn't feeling it, it'll feel more fake, but. A lot of comedians, they want to do jokes like this, and they want to say, and here are my clever words, and they expect the audience to go, bah! But it's unnatural. If the comedian usually is about this energy, the laughs you're going to get from the audience usually are, oh, ha, 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 we're going to match you. So normally we want to find ways to be big energy like this, so the audience is like, oh, he's emoting big, I can emote big as well. Is the same legal base with a lot of people? Okay, here we go. Let's keep going.
Yo, I'm glad to be in this country. I love America. I don't care that gas prices are high and that, our leaders are stupid. I love this country, man. I don't even have the words for it, man. I love this country more than P. Diddy loves banging dudes. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, once again. This is like
a lot of love.
Yeah. So it's okay, I love the idea of I love this country more than. I love the joke. I love to see you do them, for example, of seeing how you approach breakdowns in general. I like the idea of I love this country so much, how much do you love it? Examples. However, we're just having fun, and then all of a sudden we're like, Diddy and little kids, remember molestation? And the audience, I don't know how topical it is, and I don't know how relevant is Miami. The audience sort of responded to it, but you can also be them being like, to that joke. You had an infinite universe to do jokes about how much I love it more than I love girls who slash my tires. You could have even called back the joke that you already did and done known information instead of doing hey, everyone, remember those kids that got molested. And then some people are actually going to be like, oh, I don't want to laugh at molested kids, et cetera, right? There's a lot of jokes. That joke has risk involved in it, and we could have done a million risk-free payoffs.
More than PD.
Comedy is subjective. It is. If something will cause attention in one person's mind, not cause attention in the other person's mind, so you can resolve it in this person's mind, but not resolve it in this person's mind. And so it will be funny to this person, and it won't be funny to this person. But if you're saying stop making it a science, you have to have a sort of like a format. You have to have skills, otherwise you can't grow. Otherwise, basically, Smooth, what you're saying is you're either funny or you're not. And don't try learning, because there are no skills, no proven skills. All science is something that you can then prove again. So you're basically saying you should not do anything that could be a proven skill to make your comedy better. It's like, okay, then get out of the comedy world. Smooth. Like, you don't think every person that you like in comedy learned something from someone, i.e. use science? Like, how arrogant are you? Don't use science. Don't just do it or not. You know, using science makes phones worse. I just want the phones to work at the very first time. The very first phone should be the only phone that we ever have. It shouldn't evolve or grow based on proven practices. That's what you're saying. And I think you might be the first ban of the night. Ooh. You got a few seconds to smooth this other. Here we go. Here we go. Bye bye. Look. Okay, bye. Bye, Smooth. Bye. Great. I'm sorry to block the comedic master Smooth, who knows so much about it that he doesn't need to learn. But let's continue.
He loves banging dudes. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole lot of love. Yeah. But do not worry. Do not.
Yeah. Also, this is another time. This is way too long of a pause here. Like, watch how much. Like, what is this pause here?
I love this country, man. I don't even have the words for it, man. I love this country more than people.
Yeah. Pause. In stagecraft, it only takes 2.7 seconds for the audience to check out. 2.7 seconds. If something's not evolving, something's not happening, some dynamic is not made, 2.7 seconds for them to go, oh, what's my grocery list again? Oh, what am I having for dinner tonight? Oh shit, that thing that happened at work, and for them to suddenly zone out. So how long is this? Let's play a game of how long is this pause?
It's a whole lot of love.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
But do not worry.
6-ish, 7 seconds. You know what I'm saying? So double the time it takes for someone to check out. I feel like that was a whole little comedy sketch there of you banning someone in a comedic way. Where a lot of comedians who are like, no, you just got to do it. Because what they want to do is they want to validate their 5 years of open micing 10 times a week, just reinforcing the same bad habits instead of actually working on their craft. So they have a sunken cost and they want to feel elitist. And it doesn't help anyone.
Do not worry, my fellow Americans people, because I, Carlitos Moises Ocrela Morales Santana.
Oh, I love us calling back our name. And the audience is even like, yes, sir. Love that. Love calling back our name.
Carlitos Moises Ocrela Morales Santana. The third. Is here to make America.
Oh, the audience said the third? Yeah, you see how simple and like fun that simple game is? Of like blah 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 my name. The third, it's so simple and lands so hard that when we bring back our name the second time, the audience wants to play that game. They like that game, they want to play it, and then they give us a free moment when some of the audience finishes the third, and you get to go, yes, love that game, and love that the audience did it for us, and love that we reacted to the audience. This is a connection. This is fun.
We're gonna laugh again, huh? Yeah. You guys want to hear a joke? Alright, it's terrible, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. Alright, here it goes.
Okay, it is kind of funny that you're like, you guys want to hear a joke? What have you been doing the rest of this time? we could point that out. It's like, you guys want to hear a joke? All that other shit, that's my diary entries. Now the jokes start. But I like that, hey, I'm going to say it anyways, because it kind of begs the question, like, what if the audience said no? But I like this. You guys want to hear a joke? Your face. You guys want to hear a joke? That guy's my dad. You guys want to hear a joke? My name again. The third. You guys want? We could just be calling back things rapidly. Okay, what is our joke that we say?
Y'all know who the first surfer ever was?
The first to forever? Do you want to know who? What did we say? Do you want to know who the first to forever is?
Hear a joke? Alright, it's terrible, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. Alright, here it goes. Y'all know who the first surfer ever was?
First forever? What are you saying? What are you saying? I swear I'm having like a stroke right now. What? First or forever?
All right, here we go. Y'all know who the first surfer ever was?
First surfer ever? Is that what we're saying?
It was Jesus. That's right. It was so
Oh, first surfer ever. Is it going to be a walk on water joke?
new, people didn't even know what to call it. They were like, Jesus Christ, what's he doing? He's walking on water. Told you it was terrible. Expect no.
Okay. You know. Okay. So. Remember what we were talking about earlier? No. I actually don't think this is terrible. Believe it or not. Remember we were talking about earlier about the 3 pillars of truth. This doesn't stand on the pillar of truth ideologically, just the words themselves. However, you made this joke about like I'm gonna tell you a joke. I'm gonna enjoy telling you this joke. So that's the pillar that we're resting on. How much fun you're having telling this bad joke. So as long as we lean into that, doesn't matter that ideologically it's oh brother, because the joke isn't about that. The joke is about having fun telling the joke. I also agree, Steph, that I do like the premise about like Jesus being the first surfer. He's like hang 10, brother. Like maybe being able to do surfing terms that overlap with like religious terms. But yeah, this joke is not about the ideological strength of Jesus being the first surfer. It's about how much Carlos the comedian enjoys telling this joke. Yeah.
What's he doing? He's walking on water. Told you it was terrible. Expect no more than that. All right. Anyway.
So we didn't have to like shit on it, because anytime we shit on a joke, then if the audience liked it, they're like, well, I liked it, so shouldn't like it? We can be like, that joke's for me, I loved it. We can be celebrating how much I liked that joke. I'm like, and in case you didn't like it, here it is again. You want to know why Jesus was the first surfer? And we could really lean into the fact that you enjoy telling this joke, and then the joke becomes about your enjoyment more than the actual words. And then I like that joke. It could also be that like the same thing. All that time he was missing, he was in Hawaii. Oh, yeah. We could do follow-ups like that as well. Love it. Yeah, and I do think that maybe the audience had my same journey about like Jesus was the first bluffer. What? Which would hurt our understandability, and then the audience wouldn't be even there for like understanding the joke.
Like I was saying, I'm Puerto Rican, Dominican, and Haitian, which means that I got.
Now we're going back. I was like, we already did your Puerto Rican Haitian jokes. And it's like, you're basically like, hey, let's get to the store, buy everything you need at the store. Okay, we're leaving the store. Okay, we left the store, we're at the movie theaters. And I'm like, no, fuck that. Let's go back to the grocery store. Like, what? We just came, we were there. Why didn't we do these jokes while we were already there instead of driving all the way back again? Like, what? Yeah, also, Miranda, I can't tell if you're taking a dig via the... Okay, bye-bye, Miranda. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It has not been fun knowing you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Great. Happy to have him out of my chat. Okay. So, yeah, even this joke, we're going back to the Haitian Puerto Rican jokes about like, oh, big dicks and stuff. But we already talked about that. This would have landed harder when we were already in that world. Instead, we're suddenly going. It's weird that we're doubling back on these things that we spent so much time on when we could just put this material with those other things.
Just ego. I gotta work on. It's terrible. I also have a lot of drugs.
Once again, even that, we didn't sell the joke. Like, big, where you're implying penis, implying BBC, which we talked about earlier. But ego. I like that rug pull. I like that misdirect. But you didn't even sell it. Like, watch it. You're the spiritual avatar of the room. Watch what your energy does.
I gotta work on. It's terrible.
Oh, it's okay. Miranda isn't here anymore. I banned him. Yeah.
Ego. I gotta work on.
Yeah, so ego. Instead of being like, ego, yeah, I got that big ego, blah, blah. Instead of like selling it and keeping the energy, like, ego, yeah, I got to work on that. And there's an audience member like, oh, okay. Instead of like, oh, he's clearly making a joke and we should have fun with him, right? So our performance, our selling of that joke, sort of like, boop. Yeah.
Terrible. I also have a lot of drug addicts in my family. Can anybody relate? All right. Are you sure you're not the drug addicts in your family?
Oh, even this. Now we're talking about drug addicts in her family. We did a whole thing about us being like addicted or like a really heavy pot user. So now it's also weird that all of a sudden we're doubling back on that concept too. Like, why wouldn't these jokes be in that set? You know what I'm saying? So it's like we went to the grocery store, we went to the clothes store, we left those things. We're now at the beach, and like fuck it, now we're going back to the grocery store, and after that we're going back to the clothes store. It's like why didn't we get these things while we were already there? Like what are we doing? We're wasting travel time. Sorry, just throwing out some love to my Twitch chat. No bans so far in Twitch chat. Twitch chat, best chat. Sorry, Instagram chat. Okay, so we're going back to drug dealers or like drug addicts in our family.
All right. No, and I got.
That's it. 1 second.
In your family. All right. No, and I got an auntie that does heroin, right? And you know about that. And,
Okay, so it's a little dark. We're talking about like our aunt who does heroin. Would the circle back work? Okay, this is from Twitch chat. Would the circle back work better with a transitional joke, like a bridge? Yeah, you could make a game about it, especially if we're doubling back twice. You could make a game about it. I'd be like, oh, in case you guys forgot this other thing that I'm going to talk about again, and in case you guys doubly forgot this other thing, in case you guys really forgot, my name is. Yeah, there are ways that we can make it work, but if we don't directly use it. If we don't do it intentionally, then it feels weird. But yes, Rocket, there are a lot of ways that we can intentionally make it fine that we're doing a double back. But if we don't comment on it, then the audience's mind might be like, oh, we're talking about this thing again, and we've given them nothing to show that. Like I recognize that we're going back. I understand that we've gone back. Like just like trust me and let me cook for a second. So yeah. If we do a bridge or something to acknowledge it, a million different ways that we can ease that tension and even make a game out of it and a joke out of it. And then it all is forgiven if we double back, if we use it intentionally. If we're just doing it as a default and we're not using the fact that we've done this, then that's when we lose points. Kind of like all things in comedy. All the rules in comedy you can break. You just have to make sure that you are resolving any of the audience's maybe tensions or scaredness that you're breaking a rule and sort of like make them feel validated. And then pretty much all the things that I espouse with specific games, you could get away with the opposite. But you'd have to make a game out of it. You have to. So there's more like homework you have to do to get away with it.
And she swears that
The mission.
right? Everybody.
Okay. So sorry. Back to like. Okay, we're talking about. I have a family member. Everyone has a family member who's addicted to drugs. There is like a drug epidemic. So in some ways, we're telling the audience, hey, remember that family member of yours who's maybe not doing so well right now. So in my mind, I might be like, oh yeah. Like I have a cousin, my cousin Jimmy. Like even right now, I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I should call Jimmy. I hope he's doing okay. Damn. So that's what we're doing to the audience a little bit by reminding them that in the show. And then we're talking about our aunt who does it because she has arthritis. I just say that like maybe you do have an aunt who really does use heroin to use her arthritis. I'm a little bit like I don't know. But hopefully we actually talk to the truth of it. Otherwise, there's going to be a serious subject matter with the cutesy joke, and the difference between the two is going to feel like we backstab the audience a little bit. Look, Steph, I agree that the premise is rife for comedy, but anytime we do something that's like a real world tension that people are really affected by, you have to be careful because some of the audience is going to be remembering some of the darkest parts of their life, and so they will no longer be in the mindset to party. The people that don't have a dark connection with it, you'll be able to get away with it for free. But the people that do, you've kind of fucked part of your audience. And the more of these you stack on top of each other, statistically, the more you are likely to hit more of the audience's things that they can't laugh about. Because like, look, if I heard this joke now, I can enjoy it. But if I heard this joke when my own cousin was dealing with like the worst part of his things, when he accidentally like burned down one of our family members' houses when he was looking after his niece and nephew, like I'd be like, oh no, drugs are terrible, and my niece and nephew almost died. I can't laugh at this joke. I'm too much in my head about 2 children that almost died this week, right? So even the timing of stuff in their lives might affect them. Yeah. Jeremy, I can hit up your set after this.
Right? Everybody knows when Titi was high on heroin because we be having a good time, chilling like you guys are right now, having a good time.
Hey, Will, you're solid, bro. Hey, I appreciate it. Just because like it's a terrible, problem universal wide right now. But once again, as long as the jokes are clever enough or we make it personal enough, we'll be fine. But I just want to present everyone that danger because look, I watch a lot of comedy sets. Literally more than 100 a week I watch comedy sets. And 95% of indie comedy sets are comedians talking about dark subject matters with cutesy jokes. And you just fall into this pool about you had the infinite universe to talk about. You could do cutesy jokes about cutesy subject matters and the audience would be fine with it. Instead, you're talking about like death and like murdering kids. So you can be like murdering kids, more like murdering bids. And the audience is like, oh brother, like why did we have to do this dark tension for that joke? And so like, we can get away with dark jokes, but either the jokes have to be more clever or we actually have to talk about the severity of the subject matter so we can resolve the audience of their connections that they might have in their mind. It's offensive a bit. Let's see where it goes. And let's see. Once again, if it's offensive, but we use it as an excuse to make a connection with the audience, and we resolve that offensiveness, it could be okay. But okay, I'm gonna let this joke ride, and we'll see what's wrong.
Having a good time, chilling like you guys are right now, having a good time, and she's there over there in the corner looking like she lost something. Okay, this is my titi right here.
Okay, the one thing I don't like about this act out is you go upstage and you disappear. You could be doing this so that like you're still slumped over, but the audience sees your TT's face. You know what I'm saying? If we really want to do this act out to what it maybe should be.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a kid, I spent many hours helping Titi. Ladies and gentlemen, as a kid, I spent many hours helping Titi find a ring. She would just hide.
As an information, like I would spend many years, I spent many hours helping her find the ring that she would hide. I'm like, okay, that's new information. Okay, that's new information. So I think that feels more like an information dump than a payoff to that joke. Because ideologically, we just did a big act out. So just words in comparison, they have to be very clever words. Otherwise, the joke is devolving and it's going to feel like it's dying. So either like you have to have something really funny off the act out, or something that goes back into another act out, or just like let that be the end of the joke. Oh yeah, Connor. Yes. I love that. About like if Auntie is a little scatterbrained because of this addiction, she could be the one using the flashlight to look for the phone. Yeah. That's a great callback. That's a great callback connection. 100%. And because we're sort of like using other big jokes that we've done, it might palatize the fact that we're talking about. It might make this joke seem more clever, so the audience will be more likely to forgive us for talking about a serious subject matter. That's great. Yeah, good looking out, Connor.
Okay, anybody want to crack cocaine?
1 second. What?
I all that smokes crack cocaine. Anybody want to crack cocaine?
Yeah, once again, we're trying to... Okay. Runs in the family, I guess. His name is Carlos blah, 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 the second. Yeah. And we could even stack, especially because this is near the end, if we wanted it to be like a big song and dance, call back all the big jokes at the end, we could use this as a vehicle. But you notice how now we're trying to... Every time we've pimped out the audience thus far, they've been there with us. You notice how we try to pimp out crack cocaine after just talking about heroin? This is the one time the audience is like, I don't know if I'm co-signing this. I don't know if I'm going to give it to you. It was a little confusing about our wording. I couldn't quite hear you, so it could also be that. But
ladies and gentlemen, as a kid, I spent many hours helping Titi find a ring. She would just hide. I all that smokes crack cocaine. Anybody want to crack cocaine? That's not...
Yeah, you get like 3 people going like, woo! They don't want to co-sign. Oh, yeah. Chat is on fire tonight. Yeah. She could have lost her heroin in the carpet using the flashlight. And then she's like, I also lost my phone.
Not a good thing, bro.
Yeah, look. Okay. So the audience goes, woo. So 3 people in the audience are very good little boys and girls. And the rest of the audience is not supporting you in your direct pimp out. So these 4 people throw you a lifeline by giving you something. Otherwise, anyone smoke crack cocaine? Crickets. Oh fuck, I just killed the room. So these four people gave you a lifeline, being like, I don't know if I co-sign this, but woo, yeah. And then you go like, that's not a good thing. And then you shit on them for rewarding you. So if this set continues, the set's only gonna be 2 more minutes long. But the longer the set was, if we do moves like that where we punish the people that were basically our biggest allies, you lose the audience even more. Because then the audience is like, well, I don't want to shout out for his thing. The last person that shout out got shat on. I don't want to be the next person that got shat on. Those people did you a favor, and then you basically like, and fuck that person. Like, if those 4 people didn't say woo, you would have been like, anyone smoke crack cocaine? Okay, well, here's my next bit, right? You would have looked kind of awkward. So just don't bite the hand that feeds you. I don't mind. Look, I don't mind jokes like that, but we need to throw an olive branch afterwards about like that's not a good thing, sir. But thank you so much. Like some sort of olive branch so that they don't feel just squatted down.
And everybody knew when he was high on that crack cocaine because he did this thing where his face just didn't match his words. Okay, he looked like one of those old kung fu movies. He's like, Calito, de aquí, vamos a
Look. The act outs are nice and big, and the analogy is good as far as like the mouth didn't match the words like a kung fu movie. I like that analogy, and because we're personalizing it and we're making it silly, I think the audience is sort of like, okay, we think that he's more taking digs at least I don't know what the truth of the matter is, but my audience brain is more like, oh, okay, I'll believe that this actually is his family, and I will allow it to happen. So I don't feel like you just brought up drugs just to do these jokes and like none of this is true. So I'm like giving you some sense of like, okay, I don't know if this is true or not, but I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt, which allows you to get away with these jokes more. But so olive branches could be anything, but if we swat the audience down, we just need to make sure he like swat, like that's not a good thing, bro. He laughs a little bit at that person, and then he looks away and he laughs at like someone else at that person, as in like fuck that guy, versus like that's not a good thing, bro. But afterwards find me, yeah, or something to show that like, hey, I'm still gonna have fun with you instead of just shitting on you. We could use a callback as an olive branch, but an olive branch is anything to resolve that tension of maybe having just like burned that connection with that audience member to use them as a source of comedy. Great. I mean, not great that your uncle got deported, but once again, the more that we do this, and the more the sort of like more that I give you the benefit of the doubt, and then I don't feel like you're just punching down for punching down's sake, the more I feel like, oh, you're actually talking about things that happen in your family. And but I do want to flag to every like, even if it's really funny and we do clever things with it, you do lose some portion of the audience, and you can hit some audiences that it's just game over. So it's dangerous. Comedy is probabilistic. It is not deterministic. Most shows, you'll be fine with these jokes. I truly do believe that. Most shows, you'll be fine. But there will be like 5%, 2% of shows that you won't be able to win the audience over with these jokes. I just want to flag that we are playing with fire. And just because it works a lot of times, like sometimes you will strike out with it, and that's fine. Every comedian makes their own risk-benefit reward a ratio, and they sign it or they're, oh, I'm not okay with that. So I just want to flag that to everyone. Members being freaked out. So it's like I have someone I work with in Louisiana who he's a convicted felon. That's just his life, nonviolent crimes, drug crimes. But he'll do sets about having gone to prison, and if he doesn't tell the audience why he went to prison, one, they won't laugh at any of his other jokes, and sometimes they'll interrupt some of his later jokes to be like, why'd you go to prison? So like he sort of like has to resolve that thing with the audience and make it okay and make the audience feel comfortable, because they don't want to be like, they start to get worried about like, oh, convicted felon, what is it he's in for? I don't know if I can laugh at these other things. And so it's like this, it's like he's just talking about his experience in prison, but sometimes there are things that have too much of an implication of other dangers that the audience can't let it go. And big things in life are one of those things that can stick in the audience's mind.
Like, yo, I'm 12. Don't smoke cigarettes. Weed only. Yeah. All right, who's here celebrating a birthday party? Anybody? Yeah? How old are we?
Okay. So we just failed one of the biggest crowd work traps of all time. It's the most common crowd work trap, and we just ran into it. So I'm gonna throw it out again, and I'll explain.
Don't smoke cigarettes. Weed only. Yeah. All right, who's here celebrating a birthday party? Anybody?
Okay, great. So who's here celebrating? Anytime we ask a question as a comic, the conceit of stand-up is I am the truth in the room. I have all the power. I have all the information. Anytime we ask a question, we are conceding that right as the power in the room to be like, question, and it adds a tension in the air. There's free comedy in resolving that tension, but if you stack questions on top of each other, and whose birthday is it? Anyone? When is your birthday? What are you doing for your birthday? The longer we let that go, the more it starts to feel like a shitty interview rather than a stand-up show. So you don't ever want to stack questions on top of each other. You can ask multiple questions, but make sure you resolve each one with a distinctive point of view or distinctive phrase in between so that you can regain the power, regain the comedy. So it's like, and anyone's birthday in here? Woo! And they made you sit in the back. Those for your friends didn't buy you good tickets. Well, what else are you doing for your birthday, right? I'm just ham-fisted trying to come up with something, but you need to contextualize each question with some sort of stance in between. Otherwise, you fall into the trap of stacking questions. You lose power and you lose agency, because the more questions we ask in a row, the more we are dependent on the audience for the rhythm of the comedy to answer that maybe in a funny way to generate comedy, or maybe they don't. Maybe they don't answer at all. These are all things that we're sort of releasing control over when we ask too many questions in a row. So it's fine to ask multiple questions. Just make sure you have definitive statements in between them or points of view so you can leverage each one for comedy, so you fight against this trap. It's most common crowd work trap. And look, in real life, I feel like that way, like I'm here for comedy, not an interview. Oh yeah. So so in life, when we're talking to someone, it is common for us to be like, oh, where do you work? Oh, you work at a cafeteria. What kind of food do you serve? I need more information, and you have all the information. So unfortunately, this habit comes from real life, but we have to fight against it. Just because it looks awkward on stage.
Yeah.
Okay, so questions. Anyone's birthday? Anyone? Yeah. So 3 questions stacked in a row.
How old are we turning?
How old are we turning? 4th question stacked in a row.
25. Yeah.
Okay, now we resolve it. Not too terrible, but we could have had jokes in between each of those statements, and then we sort of would have had free comedy sandwiched in between all those questions. But I like how we resolve it. 25, yeah.
You fooled me. I thought it was 21. Nice.
Great line. Great line resolving. I love that line. Great. I was gonna wonder if we did anything with the specific 25 answer, and we did. Great, love that.
Has we got anybody here celebrating anniversaries? Okay. No one gets together anymore, right? That's just.
Okay, great. Like that. I mean, that's still okay. No one gets together anymore. The second thing was a question, but it imparted more information, so it's also like half a statement. But that if we just phrase that, no one gets together anymore. If we just had phrased that as a pure statement instead of a question, I love that. And that's sort of what we need to do. You ask a question, the audience kind of didn't resolve it for you. Then we had a definitive comedy statement. Love it. Just like don't phrase it as a question.
That's a thing of the past now.
Yeah, great. And then the audience liked it a lot, so we dug in with extra jokes. Great instincts there. Yeah.
We are here. Oh man, are you guys ready for a great show? All right.
Okay. Look. I don't have any jokes there. This was risky for me. I don't usually do crowd work, but I need to try. Look. The only way we get better is to, take some swings at it, and then you have to be the judge whether this is a show that needs to absolutely kill, so we don't try new skills, or if this is a show we do every week, then experiment with some of these skills. If it goes too awry, then okay, stop using this experimentation and go back to known territory. But I mean, you have to get better somehow, and you have to get those reps in, and you have to try new things, and having a full audience is such a unique thing that it's hard to really try the thing other than when you're doing the things. I no harm, no foul. It's look, and we even had some great successes, so I love that. Although now, one thing I would want you to do as homework: how many times do we pimp out the audience in this set? This is probably number 30.
Oh man, are you guys ready for a great show?
Because you could just easily oh man, I was like, I don't like the oh man because it lowers energy. But you could have just been like, guys, we're gonna have a great show tonight, woo! You could just easily pimp that applause without using a question. What, Carlos? You haven't been following me this whole time? What? You just started following me? And I've been doing your whole in-depth review? Oh, if I knew you hadn't been following, oh boy, I would not have stayed the whole 10 minutes on you.
Alright, before I put them up here, you guys, anybody here believe in horoscope?
Once again, another question, so
Alright, well, I'm the type of guy who sometimes like to look up to the stars, let them guide me with their infinite wisdom. Other times, I just take my medication so I don't hear the voices. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I didn't really follow the connection between like astrology and the voices. I'm like, oh, okay. And I once again, we're sort of like bleeding.
Anyway, comedians, just to tell
Okay,
you.
anyways, forget that. Let me shuffle that under the rug. You kind of subconsciously shits on your own joke.
The light's gonna be a light from right here. It's gonna be a white light. Please acknowledge it when you see it. Point at.
Okay, now we're doing homework. Great.
For the rest of us, guys, when I call their name, please clap them up, you know. And when they step out, also give them a clap. Let me hear.
Well, I think it's a little bit too homework. We could be making games out of this and stuff like, okay, do this and do this and do this and this. Guys, there's gonna be a white light right there. Don't walk towards the light. That just means your set's gonna end. Doesn't mean you're dying. Oh, you could be dying on stage. Ha 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 ha. Crowd, it's up to us to make them feel love. Let's practice. Woo woo woo. We could be making games instead of like, okay, here's announcement number 1. The cafeteria isn't serving pizza today. Emergency announcement number 2. Right? Our vibe could have been even playing with these things that we have to do. Okay, everyone, give it up for Carlos. P.S. This is a shout out. I see 11 people in Twitch chat. If you're not following, please give me a follow. I appreciate it. Same thing with Instagram chat. If you aren't following, I appreciate a follow. And next, we are going